I feel like my head is about to explode. Like, I for so many reasons, I just spent like an hour. Is wood slow? No. Like an hour live, I am crashing out. That does not sound accurate. No, it doesn't. Trying to figure out how this new lending game, you can take a game here and put it there, but you can't have it here and here, but before you could or you couldn't, but it's offline and online, and it's so... You have one shared copy, but you still have your own digital game as you do currently. Chat, I have to read that 10 more times. Overwhelmingly confusing. I don't know if it is confusing or if I'm just overthinking it, but a lot of people in my chat were trying to explain to me how it worked, and a lot of people were just wrong because they were also confused, but we'll get to that. We got a direct today. If you're watching this right now and you're like, we got a what? We got a who? Huh? I missed the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct? No, that's still in like 6 days. I can't remember there ever being a time where we had 2 Directs within a week. And then, by the way, 2 days after the next Direct, I'm going to New York because I was approved to get a hands-on with the Switch 2. I'm losing my mind. There's a lot of cool things happening, and yesterday, Nintendo randomly announced there would be a Direct today, and it would be just the first Switch stuff. It's only stuff for the first Switch. So we're going to take a look at that. Anything in here was an added bonus. I had 0 expectations. You could only go up from there, and Nintendo certainly went up from there. We got to look at the Dragon Quest remakes again. I think they even introduced a new character. I will play these eventually. It just said 2025. For a Direct that was focused on Switch 1 games for like this year, there was a lot of just 2025s and no actual dates, which I thought was a bit bizarre. Oh, and when this goes up, I'm going to start preparing to go live with my podcast and talk about this in more detail. And we're about to hit 100,000 subscribers. So if you came over and subscribed, if everyone did it, we'd hit 100,000 today, you know? So, this is immediately, it's starting in a place of games that aren't really for me. And again, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with them showing these games off, and I'm sure they're for somebody. Anything is a bonus at this point. So I'd never heard of this game, and initially I was not interested, but then it looked more and more like a Persona game. I love Persona, and I'll definitely be checking this out. It looks like Persona, but with real-time combat. Then the 2D Metroidvania evil Pac-Man in it, which is a bit bizarre. I think his name is Puck. So I don't know what is happening here, but it's definitely interesting. Patapon 1 and 2 replay. Look, I don't know what to say. A new Story of Seasons game. Now, not jumping out of my chair for this one, but I'm definitely interested. My ears are picking up. Story of Seasons is made by the same guy that used to make the Harvest Moon games when the Harvest Moon games were actually good. At least I believe that's still the case. I think he's still making these games. They're good. This does look very cutesy and polished, and I think it'll still do well, especially once we cross over to Switch 2 and people are just looking for more games to play. Oh, man. You know, I was hoping... Metroid? No. Oh, it is. It is. Oh, it is. Okay. This was so incredibly cool, and I have one big theory about this gameplay. It looks way too clean visually, resolution-wise. I mean, every shot, even the expansive shots where Metroid is standing, or Samus is standing. Metroid? Did I just call Samus Metroid? When Samus is standing on the bridge and you can see out into the distance, it's got such nice draw distances. Even this shot, such nice draw distances, atmospheric effects, lighting, fog back there, and everything is seemingly in like full 1080p or at least a really high resolution. I'm really wondering if this is Switch 2. I'm wondering if this is one of the first times we've seen Switch 2 recorded footage. Here's the thing, if this is Switch 1, I'm gonna be almost more upset if they recorded this on a Switch 1. Because if you can make games look like this on the Switch, where were you? Where have you been? Why weren't you helping Game Freak? Like, you know, that aside, very excited. Telekinesis powers now with Samus. I'm just excited to dive in. It looks like, oh, look at all those, like, leaves. Obviously, still coming 2025. Oh, and this sick new black and red suit. Looks so cool. Then we got like a Disney ripoff of Coffee Talk. I don't really know how I feel about that. Then this multiplayer pixel art style game by Chucklefish. Chucklefish makes some really great games, and their pixel art is gorgeous. This was a standout for me. The Eternal Life of Goldman. Man, just the animation style, it's giving like Cuphead a little bit. The stylistic platformer, I love this so much. Honestly, I think this and Metroid were my two standouts for games I'm really interested in. I played Rift of the Necrodancer at a PAX like 2 years ago, and I've been wondering where it is. Why hasn't it released yet? It felt very polished when I played it. It's a lot of fun. It's a rhythm game, almost like a WarioWare as well. And apparently it's just releasing today after not knowing for like 2 years. It's just out now. Then we got a very cutesy Tamagotchi, I don't know, game. Another look at Pokemon ZA, and I appreciate my live chat blowing up with Windows, just Windows. All I saw in chat was the word Windows.
All over town.
I know, chat. Don't. I was trying not to say anything.
These areas are special.
I'm being positive, okay?
Pokemon can
don't make me think about the Windows.
This...
Yeah. I see him. I still see him ruining every shot of this game. There were some nice shots in here. I mean, ones like this, I still think are pretty embarrassing. I mean, it's everything I complained about, and then the same one car copy pasted 1, 2, 3, 4 times with some NPC standing around. In fact, I don't know what's happening here with this taxi sign, but is it even attached to the car? I'll say this, the gameplay still looks fun. Like I've had no issue with the improvements they've made there. It looks really exciting. I love the concept of when it turns nighttime, the city comes to life in a different way, and you battle people in these wild areas, and there's like a whole culture in the city, I guess, that when night hits, it's time to get it on. Don't get me wrong, I'm gonna play it, and I'm gonna play it a lot, because it's what we do, isn't it? We are still seeing so many of these old Nintendo games getting new life on the Switch. Like, the Switch has really brought back everything. Every big IP, every weird, obscure IP that Nintendo ever dabbled in. And here we have again, another one. Rhythm Heaven is coming back in all of its goofy glory. That's 2026 though, which feels too far away for a game like that, but sure. All right, without spending too much time on this, because it is immensely confusing. Like, I feel like there's no shot you can watch this explanation one time and understand how it works now in entirely. I might even get this wrong right now. But the best I can do to explain this is they've taken digital game purchases. Digital have these physical representation of digital carts. So now you have this digital library of carts, and these carts, you can treat them just like you would a physical game. So you can trade one, you can give one, I should say, to a family member on your family. They have to be in your family account, but you can give one to a family member, send it to their Switch, and then they can play it for 2 weeks before it bounces back to you or until they return it. The confusing part, because all that kind of makes sense, right? I mean, it's a fancy term for your digital games. It's a fancy way of looking at them, but nothing has really changed with them. Now you can just share the license with another friend or a family member, right? As long as they're on your account. Where it got a little confusing for me is now if you have 2 Switches, you can share them between your Switches by ejecting it from one and then loading it into another, all like digital, but like you have to actually hit those buttons, and then it removes it from the first one, and then you can't play it on there unless you put it back. Which, to me, I was like, well, right now, if I have my account on both Switches, I can download it on both and have it on both all the time. And if I'm offline, I can play both, right? I mean, that was my first thought. It's like, it's almost limiting now. Now that you've made it physical, in a way, we have the same physical limitations that we have with a physical cart, where it can only be in one place at a time. It quite literally cannot be in 2 places at the same time. Whereas before, digital downloads were digital and they could be in 2 places at the same time. I guess what this tries to fix is If you don't know, when you have two Switches, one always has to be your primary Switch. So if you try playing the non-primary, the secondary Switch offline, you'll get a bunch of issues. It'll say, hey, this isn't your primary Switch. Please connect to the internet before you try playing this game. It wants to check you actually have the license to play the game. It's kind of a nightmare. But this now makes it so as long as you load the game, when you have internet, you load the game onto the secondary Switch, you can then go offline and play it to your heart's content. You just can't play it on the original Switch until you get it back. Are you confused? Maybe. Maybe not. It is very confusing. I had to watch this trailer a few times, and as I said, there were people in my chat who still weren't getting it, but thought they had it, and they were trying to tell me that I was wrong, and I might have been wrong, but not in the way that they were wrong. The biggest thing here is you can take your game and you can lend it out to a friend or family member on your account, which you could not do before. And it's definitely encouraging people to buy digital games because families, for example, who this is definitely targeting, would rather go to GameStop and buy a pre-owned game physically so that the whole family can play it, so that all their siblings can share it, right? Where now, maybe they'll be inclined to buy it digital because they can share it in a way. It gives them that option. And I think that's really good. I like that. That is good. Sharing games is cool. Sharing digital, even cooler. It's very niche case. I don't think it's something we really have to worry about too much. I could be wrong. Let me know down below. I'm very confused by it. Someone else pointed out a reason why they've done this is because we're all about to buy a Switch 2 very soon. Like literally in 6 days, we're going to hear about it, which means a lot of us, even you thinking right now, I'm never going to have two Switches, you're about to have two Switches. So then we get a little sizzle roll here, sizzle reel of High on Life coming to Switch. I did not expect this one to come over. Star Overdrive, which kind of is like Breath of the Wild if you were racing on a hoverboard. Wandering Village looks pretty cute. It's literally a wandering village. I'm really interested in some of these games, and we just get such a quick look at them. May 21st for Fantasy Life I'm looking forward to playing this one with Kim. Another Animal Crossing style game. All right, we got some stuff. We got Everybody's Golf. A new Marvel beat-em-up style game. And what's crazy is I actually recognize some of these characters from Marvel Rivals. They added Venom, and I think I even saw Storm. So I don't know who made this game. Yeah, there's Venom. I don't know how they got Marvel Rivals Venom and Storm. I actually recognize a lot of these characters from Marvel Rivals. So Marvel Rivals is getting very popular now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Captain America is from Marvel Rivals as well, which is interesting. Okay, then the last game announcement. It's funny because we got a lot of this, I feel like, in the event, right? We got a lot of these like cozy sim style games. We had the Fantasy Life, we had the Tomodachi one, we had the Harvest Moon one. I swear there was another one. This is the one I'm most interested in. This game is pure Nintendo. It's so goofy and silly. Tomodachi Life. Living the dream. It looks like Tomodachi Life Animal Crossing New Horizons. They took Tomodachi Life and they put it on an island. Everything's just being put on islands now. And that game was also next year, I think, right? Yeah, 2026. I wish some of these were coming this year, but we had no idea they were coming at all. So it's really cool to see the Switch 1 getting this support into 2026. It's very similar to the 3DS. When we moved into Switch, they supported the 3DS pretty heavily for the first couple of years with games just like this. And it's no surprise, but it's nice to see Nintendo supporting the Switch 1 the same way. I love the Switch, man. It's so cool. Everything they've done with it. We're going to get 10 years out of this system and a whole decade of fun games just like this one. Miyamoto, at the end, had another one more thing, and it's a Nintendo app, which I'm gonna have to download once I'm done making this video. It essentially gives you news about Nintendo. He said you can download it now, and then after this April 2nd direct they're about to do, they're gonna have like daily updates on the Switch 2 and everything happening with Nintendo. They have a music app, they have their online app, and now they have this app. They have a lot of apps. Very app happy. I'll download it, I'll check it out. Honestly, I'm barely on Twitter anymore. I only ever check it for work stuff or to update when I'm uploading. So having another way of keeping up with Nintendo news without having to use social media is pretty cool, I guess. If it sends notifications to my phone with new updates every day from Nintendo, I'm actually kind of interested in that. I could see it also being a little goofy and me never looking at it past the first week or two. So there you go, a Nintendo app. I don't know who was asking for that, but we got it. Almost 37-minute banger direct that came absolutely out of nowhere. Look, let's be real. Let's be honest. I did not really care for 90% of it. I'm not going to pretend that I did. But the 10% that I did care about was very cool, very exciting. And the fact that this was a bonus that came out of literally nowhere. I had zero expectations, and those expectations were met. I can't complain. I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with you guys making this reaction video. And in 5 days, I'll see you again for another Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. And then a few days after that, I'll have a video on my channel of me playing the Nintendo Switch 2. In fact, even today, I'm still doing my podcast where I'm going to go into all of this in more detail and probably rant and be more confused about the Switch cartridge situation. So Nintendo podcast, I'll leave links down below. We're also about to hit 100,000 subscribers. So if you could, I'd really appreciate it. All right, that's it. I'm going to get out of here. Let me know your thoughts down below about this direct and everything happening with Switch 1, Switch 2. If you're excited, if Metroid blew your pants off, and I'll see you soon. So much has happened.